So let's get started. For this week, I want to put the paper aside for a while, like for this week and next week, because I want to give you like 2 workshops on the musical analysis. Because actually 3 weeks ago, I think, someone asked me how to do the beat analysis for the Mind-Squared Song Critic 1. Yeah, but for those weeks, I really want to answer this question and get into this topic, but we're stuck with the papers, and for now, I think we get the time. So I want to get into this topic this week. Okay, focus on the beat making and hip hop production and how to do the analysis about the beat and all about the beats. So, so these things are basically based on the Mind-Squared Song Critic 1. If you still remember, what you did. So first, if you want to write about the beat, you want to write about the techniques, probably the techniques used in the song production. So what are the techniques? First, DJ skills and turntables. Okay, DJ skills and turntables. We actually talked about DJ skills in the module 3 a lot, and turntable I think is in module 7. Yeah, if you already unlocked that and read through the contents. So the example is this song. Yeah, this song, all the song examples are from the Mind-Squared Song Critic 1. Okay, if you remember the Adventures of Grandmaster Flash. So this is a really old dated song, and there is a little bit of scratch of the DJ skills and turntables. So if the scratch is one element of that song, or it's made by a DJ by the turntable and scratch, and but not like in the modern hip hop. I mean, those songs are really outdated, like in the 70s probably. If you analyze a song of this kind, you're gonna talk about those DJ skills. And sampling, I think in the Dark World and One More Chance, in the module 3, we already talked about the sampling, how to do the sampling, right? How samples are flipped by the producer, and these parts, and also the drum machine, because in the Plenty Rock is the first song like using the Roland TR-8008 drum machine, and also this DMX drum machines. And if you have the information about what the drum machine the producer or the beat maker use, you may talk about that, because the drum machines are like updating through the technology. So each era of the hip hop has their own features, because they use different samplers, use different drum machines. So the music sounds different because of the technology. I think someone, they mentioned they want to write about this in this paper. So I think this is an interesting thing to write about. But all those things require your prior information, but not the information cannot be directly derived from the song, because you probably cannot hear tell what drum machine the producer used unless you're professional. Okay, so some people do, they can tell right away what the drum machine is used, but if you cannot, you're gonna have some extra information. So for this, I want to direct you to this. Okay, so this is a research project overview. In the digital sources, there is something called who sampled. Okay, if you want to know what samples are used in your song, you may go to this website and search for like songs put here, and see which samples are used or samples in your song. So I think this is a good tool for you to use when you don't know which samples are used in your song, right? You have you need some more information to write about, because it's very difficult to tell which samples are used unless you use the sample very long. But because we're gonna see it today, many producers, they kind of like chop the samples and kind of like flip them. So it's very difficult to tell that by listening properly. So this is a good tool for you to check which samples are used in your song that you want to write about. Okay, and this Discog is also a good website for this purpose, because there you can search for the name of the album and you can get the album credits. And from there you can tell, like here, mixed by like who is the producer, who is the guitar, who is back vocaling, right? Because when you listen to the music, the first thing you would do, and the most important thing you would do, is to tell the sources, kind of like tell the sources, the difference, like who plays the guitar or the piano, the keyboard, or the kick, snare, right? Claps, and also the backing vocals. Okay, the drum programming and guitar. So this is a good tool for you to write about when you want to talk about the producer, because sometimes in your musical analysis, especially for the beat, you want to talk about who made this, because different people have their different signatures or features. So, but you don't want to make a mistake there. So, because if you attribute the beat producer to a wrong person, that would be totally wrong, right? So this is important. Make sure you get the right information. So this website can give you the trustful information. Okay, so there's the two websites you can find in the research project review right here. That's the thing you can utilize. And for the drum machine, I want to. So today we will like go through several YouTube videos, okay, for this topic. First, I think we should watch this together to see how the musicians sample and flip the sample and make music using the drum machines. Okay, let's get started. Can you hear the sound of my computer? Okay, cool. Let's do that.
That's what's up.
Oh, probably because I mute my audio. So let me reshare this. I think I shared it in the wrong way. Sorry. I really should do this. So, because I don't want Yeah, I think you got the idea here. But actually, this is a traditional way to make songs, make music. But those are typically skills used by DJs. Because I think what you want to write about the modern hip hop, a song you want to analyze, like from the Kanye West or someone, they really do the production, but not probably not from by this way, but they do this in the computer, on the computer using the DAW, namely digital audio workstation, but not directly. But they also use those kind of like pads, but we will get there later today. Okay? But they mainly use a computer to add into those tracks, to layer those tracks, and to do the editing in the DAW. So this is a way to get you, give you some sense of how they use the drum machine to make beats. Okay, so let's get next. So we talked about those things. Next is the components of beats. So you want to tell, maybe not like very clearly about all the sources, because it's impossible, because they always take many different sounds to mix them together. It's difficult to tell the source, but it's important to tell the basic components in the low frequency and in the middle frequency or even the high frequencies. So the typical instruments will be used is the drums, like the kick, bass, snare, hi-hat, claps, maybe scratch, and keyboard, and melody, and vocals, backdrop vocals, and other backdrops. So if you because if you don't have the knowledge of those things, of those instruments, if you have never played, or you are not a drum player, probably it's difficult for you to tell the difference of those instruments when you listen to the song. So we will get into this point today. How to tell which is a kick and what is bass. So let me get to this thing first. This is Ableton. It's a DAW. It's digital audio workstation. So I have this, but unfortunately, I'm not a beat maker, or else I should show you directly by using my DAW to make a beat, like in real time today. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not. So I must show you some examples here. Like you can see, this is the 88. I can also zoom in, so I hope you can see this. This is 88 drum. That's 9. So those are different drum racks. So you can tell although the basic patterns there are the same, like da 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 da, but the timbre, like the sound there are different, because although they called kick, but there are many different kicks and different snares, different drum, different hi-hats, and how you combine them together to make those drum rack. Okay, so those so for the drums, I think we can listen to some kick probably. Is a kick, right? So you can tell all the kicks are currently in the low frequency. They can be distinguished from the snare or the clap, but those are still different kicks. So when you talk about the beat, probably you're gonna hear a heavy beat, a heavy short. So you can talk about the tag and release, right? So this is really short, and the frequency is not that low. It's not that heavy. Yeah, it's a long. It's like a long release beat, a kick. This is short, and I think it's heavy, kind of like low, right, in the low end. So this is kind of a little bit bright, right? A little bit kind of like have the high frequencies. So you can talk about the different timbres. of the instruments, because although all the music, all the hip hop use kick, use snare, use hi-hat, but those timbre of those instruments are different in different songs. So another signature of instrument is this snare. Okay, this snare I feel is kind of like, kind of like a crash, more like a crash, more on a high end, and it's not a typical snare anymore. So for snares, and we also have shaker. I'm not right, probably. Right, and what I want to do. Hi-hat, where's hi-hat? Yes, hi-hat is very important in hip hop music, especially the closed hi-hat, because what you listen in the music, like, yeah, that's the closed hi-hat. Let's listen to some. Right? And it is a closed hi-hat. We also have open hi-hat. This is open hi-hat. You can tell the difference, right? When it's open, when it's closed. It's closed. Okay, so those are some examples of the separate things. I think I also have this video. Let's watch a little bit of this beat. Okay. I believe you can hear this sound. I'll mute myself. So after I mute it, you should listen. You should still hear the sound. If you cannot, just write in the chat. I can respond to it immediately. Okay. So here, those are the instruments. Okay. How you combine those instruments into a track, like into a drum. You can tell the kick, the snare. This is a hi-hat. Okay, so those things, those are light. A kick here, here. You can tell the difference, right? The color from the color, and when so this is a cursor. When the cursor hits this position, it will hit the kick, the hi-hat, right? So here will hit the snare. So just watch this cursor when it goes through this thing, which elements are triggered and what sound you hear, so that you can probably tell the source from the instruments. Okay, I know it's really quick, but yeah, we'll probably get the idea. And I will give those videos to you later. Okay, so you can probably if you want to listen to this more carefully. Let's continue. And you can still you can also find the BPM here, okay? Because I think your module 4 sound critic 2, the professor asked you to maybe talk about the BPM, so you can tell also know the BPM here of the different tracks. So I'll stop here. If you want to listen more to it, you can do it after the class. And another thing I want to show you is kind of like this. Actually, I built this by myself. So, but those drums are played by a professional drummer. So here I display those things so that you can probably tell this more carefully. Okay, so those are the instruments. Okay, these are kick, like in this, like kick, right? Snare here, snare, and this is closed hi-hat here, closed hi-hat here. And after, and yeah, there will be also be the, like the right here, right? The right tom and other instruments. So we can listen to this. And I want you to tell not only from those MIDI notes, but also this is the waveform, the time domain waveform. This is the frequency domain, the frequencies. So here at the low frequencies, you can see whenever the kick, although the kick is not dominating because if the color is light, the volume is low. If the color is dark, it's really heavy. The volume, actually, you could tune the volume here. The velocity is the volume. The larger the number, okay, the lower the amplitude. So from this frequency domain, you can tell whenever the kick appears, there is a low frequency, right? Here is not the kick, so the low frequency missed there. So the snare gives the middle frequency, but not that's very low frequency. Let's listen to this, and you can probably get a sense of how the difference of the different components of the beat. Okay, so you may get a sense of the sound of the crash here and the ride here. So yeah, I think that's what I want to talk about, the different components of this okay, of the beats. So continue. After these things, so the beat also progress because always a song lasts like 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. The beat is always changing because some people talk that the beat is like stay static there. They don't change that much probably, but there are always some details that the beat change. Sometimes the beat stand out. Sometimes it's back. Okay, get into the back and to support the vocals or the MCs to rap over that. Even if the beat, there's not much variation about the beat, but it's important to talk about how the beats progress and function in different parts of the song. Like sometimes in the break, the beat stand out because the vocal drops. Then you can tell the beat more clearly. Sometimes it becomes much simpler because those are many layers. Sometimes they took some layers out, and sometimes add more layers into that permanent drum rack, right? So how the beat progress, maybe a factor you want to talk about, and how the beats promote the vibe or facilitates the delivery of lyrics. Because actually in the hip hop in a hip hop song, the most dominating part must be the vocals, right? Must be what the rapper's talking about. So the beat actually plays the role to support the vocals, in the front. So how the beats really promote the vibe and facilitates the delivery of lyrics. This is something you want to really talk about, because if you solely talk about the beat, it's kind of like not realistic, because the function of the beat is to facilitate the delivery, to serve better for the rappers in a song, but not by themselves. Also, unless you talk about the instrumental hip hop, right? There's no vocals, like there's less vocals. There's not a rapper, maybe some vocal backdrop. Then the beat is dominating. You can talk about beat purely. But if you're talking about like a song, okay, then the how the beats like promote the lyrics is very important. And also the unique features of the beats or the signature of the producer. This requires some extra knowledge, right? You know the producer, you listen to like maybe many songs he or she produced, then you know there is a feature, there's a this signature of this producer. Because if you know, some producer like to put this signature in the beginning of the song or in the duration of the song, like they have their labels, right? If you're Chinese, you may know the red flower, right? Is the label of the of the producer. So whatever. So those are something, you cannot tell from only one song. If you listen to many songs of this producer and you compare it with other producers, you may find this feature. Okay. And the historical influence on hip hop production, like the Planet Rock is the pioneer of electro funk music, and Tonight introduced a new style of gangster rap. So those are something from the in-class readings. Okay, so those are some songs like also for you to do the southern rap connotation or something, in the module 6, if I didn't take it wrong. You would also talk about the historical influence of particular hip hop songs, because there are always some songs that are milestones, okay, in this industry. And if you talk about those songs, you're gonna talk about their historical, function. Like maybe this song itself doesn't sound that good nowadays in 2021, right? But at that era, at that time, that song is really a pioneer. The song is really a hit at that time. It's really different. Okay, so if you talk about a song, you have to take the historical influence, the history, the time into consideration when you talk about the song, like especially for the old dated songs. Because if you feel that that's boring or you cannot get that aesthetic, that's probably because the historical difference. So for those things, it's really difficult to tell them separate from a song. So I will introduce you into the beat making in the digital audio workstation. Like for most of the songs you listen to nowadays, how the beats are made for those songs. Okay, so yes, so let's watch this. I think this is a really good video.
And
you can tell how the producer choose the samples, how they work them, how they edit them, and how they make it into a beat. A modern hip hop beat, maybe a trap beat that you always listen to. Okay, So I'll mute myself and let's watch this video together.
Choose one to make a beat from today. Something immediately came to my head. just there. I might have to come back to that. All these samples, I could make a beat to, but I'm thinking this first one right here, I can use this. That guitar. I'm gonna open up Serato sample and drag that sample in there. Thinking, let me drop this BPM down to like 75, 74, something like that. Then here for the sample, I'm just gonna times it by 2, so it's a bit faster. I can see some of this stuff is not in time, so I'm just going to control everything, quantize it by pressing Q. Try and drag some of these back in time. I'm going to add a few more effects to this, EQ some of this low. And then add in a stereo spread. And also some reverb. I think that's a good starting point for the sample. If you can hear the bass in the background. So I'm just gonna open up a bass plugin and basically play that exact same bass line on top of it. I think the sample's just a bit detuned, so I'm gonna use Sound Shifter to drag the pitch back down or back up a little bit to go with the bass. Control everything, quantize. Boom, boom. What I'm gonna do now is bounce this out, drag it back in, and then I'll add some effects on top of it. So again, I'm just gonna EQ it.
Yeah, so I will see the EQ here is actually controlling the frequency domains. So those are the low frequencies, those are high frequencies. So actually the producer here is cutting the low frequencies and probably and boosting the middle frequencies here. When he cuts the low frequencies, like the lower frequency will be filtered out from this sound. And so this is cut, this is boosting. I want to, get into this EQ. And also the quantize, because you tell the producer actually quantized the MIDI notes, but this is not always done. Okay, sometimes people want to humanize this sound. This sound they don't want the sound to be very mechanic, so they wouldn't do the quantize. Okay, so doing the quantize is the habit of this producer, but it's not all. Like it's not common like for all the producers. Let's continue.
And I think I might even change the pitch a little bit. See if it sounds nicer in another pitch. Ooh, I like that. That sounds nice. Now I've got the sample, the bass line down, and I'm gonna add in some drums. I'm not actually gonna play in the drums though. I've downloaded like a bunch of samples that have drum breaks in them. I'm gonna listen, try and find one that matches this, drag it in, chop it up, and just bring it all together.
File with the help of an expert, or let an expert file for you. Intuit TurboTax Live.
Yeah.
Nicely. Ooh. I like that. This one's insane. Oh, this is it. Ah, that is too sick. That is too sick. Let me drag that in right now. Sometimes with vinyl samples, it's very difficult to get perfect chops because it's not always at the same BPM. So instead of like trying to find it through a program or something like that, I just literally use my ears, try to figure out the BPM and just chop around it. It's very messy, but you'll see what I mean. The first kick comes in about here. So I've zoomed in, chopped that. I want this piece for later on, so let me just drag that there. And I'm just gonna find the loop where it perfectly loops. So I don't think that's the right BPM. First thing, I'm just gonna try and find the perfect BPM for this. Okay, right there. I think it's 74. Gonna chop that there. So what I'm gonna do here is repeat that over. And then also I wanna use this part. Just cut the kick out of that and drag in these snares. Now it should be perfect timing. After all that chopping and trying to place the drums in the perfect position, I think I've finally got it. It's all in time now, it's all matching. This is what we got all together now. I'm not finished with the drums though. I want to add a few effects and really get it smacking. I want these drums to really smack, so I'm going to add some overdrive on it.
Yeah, stop here for this producer. Actually, you can tell what he used is he all used samples. He barely plays his own drums, right? He plays some keyboards for the bass, but for other parts, he uses all the samples, especially for the drum breaks. So for this producer, kind of like if you want to talk about this beat, you don't want to talk about the different functions of the kick, the snare, because the producer didn't do this by himself. He used the samples. Okay, so those are made by other people, the drum break. But it's not always common because I also have other, I want to introduce you to other producers too. For this producer,
Kashi Cinnamon Harvest Biscuits. Crispy, tasty, organic fiber.
One text to Pima Medical Institute can launch your healthcare career. Text NEW to 28639.
Building drops is to start with the drums. They just give you that solid foundation and solid skeleton to really form your drop around. So I have a few drum samples here. I'm gonna use my favorite kick sample in the world that I actually made myself, and I just keep it on my desktop. Rhythm.
So you can tell, although this producer still uses the samples, but he uses the small chops of kick and snares, but he manipulates those things by himself. He makes the drum rack by himself, but not directly from already made drums. Okay, so these are difference.
I always start out with kick and snare, and then I throw in a hi-hat. They work pretty well. And then I'm going to enhance every other snare, which is pretty standard when I build drum loops. And then we're going to put this in this little area here. Most important part about tip number one is that you don't move on until your drums are done. If you move on with mediocre drums, you're gonna build a mediocre drop around those drums. All right, guys, so tip number two is to get moving. So I have a little vocal here from, again, splice.com. What I like to do with vocals is chop them up and just make my own melody. So I'm gonna spend some time chopping up these melodic parts and then rearranging them to hopefully come up with a really, really cool melody just like this. So I'm gonna pause the camera and get back to you in a second when I come up with something nice. So after chopping these vocals, I came up with this. I edited the pitch of these two and added some reverb, so now they sound like this. tip number 3 is actually to start with the bass line after you already have a lead, and then just harmonize with that lead. All right, guys, so the lead sound we're using is called bass mean, and this bass will be available in the orbital sound bank. I want you to notice how I'm also following. All right, so we have a nice bass line here, so let's go ahead and copy that. We're just going to use that as the foundation of our chords. For these chords, I'm going to come into Visionary, that Supersalt preset, to use other types of sounds that's looking at all of the lead. Did you try creative? And then we're going to bring that down for the middle note of chords that sound like this. Tip number 5 is not to layer any of your instruments until you have a solid foundation of basic instruments like we have here. Layers will create character and beautiful things if you could just get a solid foundation like we have right here. That means one set of chords, one bass sound, one set of drums, and one lead. Once you have all those 4 things and they sound perfect like we have here, then you're good to go ahead and start layering some instruments for character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same lead sound for the chords. I'm going to layer the chords with the same sound, only with a little filter on them. So they sound like this now. And with the original chords, we get that sound. So without these, they're a little bit cleaner, but with these, now they're really screaming and pushing pretty hard. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a nice melodic layer here and harmonize with these chords. And the preset that I'm using here is called Pad Gorgeous, and this pad will be these chords.
Okay, so I'll just stop there. If you want to watch more closely, you can do it later, okay, after the class. So for this producer, you can tell the difference, right? And you should still pay attention to how he flips the vocals, right? He chops those things and make you kind of hard to tell what the original song is or what the original melody is, because he produced his own drums, his own melodies, okay, by chopping those samples into really small portions and rearrange them. Okay. So I think I still have one more thing I want to address, because for this producer,
so I started out.
Actually, you can tell the feature why I want to put this is he uses push. Okay, so the push here is like the drum machine, like the when you add them, play them, those are samples. But what he would do here is he plays those things, but not directly add those things into this DAW directly, so that it will add a more humanized melody and humanized drum there, because you are playing this by your hand, but not just add it in the on the computer. So these are the difference. Let's watch this a little bit together.
With this basic melody right here. So now I'm just tweaking it a little bit, with the updated push 2 controller. Shout out to Ableton, because I ain't have to buy a new controller to get new features. So that's pretty dope. This time I started with the kick just to get a little bounce, a little groove going. I play all my drum parts pretty much by hand, just to give it that human feel. It's got to be off just slightly, And I might quantize to like 35%. And it's my lazy loose hi-hat. Man, it's really about the groove, scene, like without even type of thing. But it's a quick
rearrange it from there. Wait to be rock.
So yeah, again, yeah, because we don't have much time, so I only show you a little bit about each video and the difference of each producer and the tools they use. Okay, here. So okay, we only have 3 minutes left, so we will get into the assignment this week. Okay, the discussion assignment for this week is okay, so we don't have this time for the breakout room. So just okay, post either of the 2 items of the choice here in on the discussion board. So one is your modified module 3 song critic. Highlight the new contents with the red color or bold or underline. This means if you don't have much time, or if you don't want to write a new song critic, you can do some modification to your module 3 song critic according to the all the features we give here. Okay, all the points, like what you want to enhance by modify your own song critic from the points I pointed out here. Okay, and if you want to like if you want to use a song in your paper that you want to talk about the beat and the production, definitely you're encouraged to write a new song critic, probably the song to be used for your paper. And the analysis should focus on the beat making and the production of hip hop music, and focus on the points I mentioned earlier by those tips. Okay, so those and all the YouTube videos will be given for you after class. So, and also next week we will get into the lyrics. Okay, talk about the lyrics. So I want to do the 2 workshops about the musical analysis to give you more idea of the music and how to do this analysis and how to write the musical evidence for your paper, especially for the lyrics next week. Yeah, I think I will focus on the flow and rhyme and the techniques of the lyrics, but not the content. Okay, but not the social, historical, or the content. So yeah, I'm still preparing for that workshop. Yeah, I expect that would be quite technical. So, and the discussion assignment. So I will post this discussion right now so that you can have a sense of how that is. Okay? So this week 7. Okay, so this week I give at least all the tips there you can refer to, and these are the videos I showed you in the class, and here, and also again, but those videos are not counted as in-class sources because those are collected by myself. So if you want to use them, okay, I hope you don't, but if you want to use them, it's not counted as in-class sources, okay? And this assignment is worth 2 points, okay? Because for the last point, last week, we don't have any assignment or other things. So the point for the last week is counted, is added to this week. So this assignment is worth 2 weeks, worth 2 points, and it's due next Monday, February 22nd. Okay, so I think that's everything. Okay, thanks for being here. And if you have any questions, you can stay for a little bit and ask. If you don't, hope to see you next week. When is our outline due? Yes, it's still optional, and I put the deadline on the March 1st because it's optional, so you can submit it anytime. Okay, before March 1st. Okay. So that I can give a preview, because your rough draft is due on March 2nd. So you probably want to leave 1 week for me to preview and for you to modify. So you probably want to submit this on the February 20, before 25th, probably. Yeah. For the outline, the supporting paragraphs, we just need to write what we want to talk about is not like a full paragraph. Yes, you just follow the outline, like listed. Yeah, listed in the research project overview. So yeah, I think you don't need to write like a full paragraph. Just follow the instructions there. That will be enough. Okay, I'm not going to find this now. Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?